Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming, being here today on a beautiful Sunday. And also, thank you to everyone who attended yesterday. It was an amazing talk on karma. And Town Hall is going to be going on every Sunday, just like it has been, but programming, that's going to start again in September. Masterclass is coming back. The Liberating Dharma explained in 5, 6s, and 7s. And if you haven't looked at what the classes are, check it out. It's going to be really, really good. Just go right to dzogchen.org and check that out. We have coming up the day long. And so that is coming up. And it's another way of us getting together and meeting. We have the fall residential meditation retreat with Lama, Sunday, October 27th to Friday, November 1st. Beautiful Wisdom House in Litchfield, Connecticut. I hope I get to see you all there because I'm going to go to this too. It's on my side of the continent. Lama, anytime. I know you're there.
How can you tell?
You just spoke.
Maybe that's AI.
Well, that could be. But then again,
Maybe this
okay,
picture also is fabricated.
your energy, I don't think you could do it.
Thank you, Door. Thank you very much. And good morning, everybody. On this beautiful Sabbath day, day of rest. What does it Sabbath mean? Day of rest from worldly and ordinary preoccupations, not just a day of lethargy, sloth, and torpor. Although rest is sacred, as it says in the ancient Hindu scriptures called the Upanishads, but a rest from worldly, everyday, quotidian, commonplace preoccupations and concerns, and paying more attention to the deeper or subtler or more refined or heart-centered sides of life, the spiritual side, if you like. Sabbath. Every day could be a Sabbath in that sense. So let's get this Sunday started right with a little moment of silence and solidarity and unity, connecting in Dzogchen spirit, the great connection, natural great completeness. With a moment of silence and solidarity and unity with all those suffering, especially today in the war zones of Gaza, of Ukraine, of East Africa, and other places too many to mention, including our own land, our own countries, or even, God forbid, our own families, including all in our prayers and practices today, opening our minds, opening our hearts, recognizing the unity and diversity, the great family or mandala of beings, all passengers, all crew on this spaceship Earth, as Bucky Fuller used to call it. All in the great vehicle, the Mahayana, the big boat, together. We all rise or fall, sink or swim together. Interdependent, interconnected, interbeing. arriving, settling, relaxing, releasing, letting go. Relaxed yet dynamically alert and present, presencing rather than dissociating or absenting ourselves, grounded, embodied, feeling sensations in the body, feeling your butt on the seat, sensations, physical sensations. Nowness awareness is the Buddha within. Check it out. Nothing more needed to get or to get rid of. Imaho. Enjoy the natural great connection. Co-meditating, intermeditating, interbeing with one and all. How sweet it is. Shanti, peace, harmony, acceptance. Open to the wisdom of allowing. Letting go means letting things come and go, letting be as it is, as is. And enjoy the joy of natural meditation. Innate wakefulness, pure presence, Rigpa, the Buddha mind, the Jesus heart, the Buddha nature, whatever you call it, any name, it's even more sweet than that. Peace, Shanti, love, together. Yes. Imaho. Just sitting, just breathing, just being present, aware, attentive, mindful, rather than mindlessly sleepwalking through life, having all kinds of so-called accidents. Openness and awareness inseparable. Moment to moment, non-reactive, present awareness, cultivating choiceless, non-judgmental awareness and alert presence of mind. The antidote to absent-mindedness, to heedlessness, and all the accidents that come from heedlessness and mindlessness, falling asleep at the wheel of our life. This breath, only breath, this moment, only moment. Imaho. Enjoy the show, best show, only show in town. Awareness and its projections and interpretations. Everything is subjective. Let it be, let it go. Just don't know. No need to know or figure anything out. Just being with a capital B plus. Awareness with a capital A plus. See? Seeing is freeing. Imaho. Wondrous. Amazing. Yes. Oh. With about big out breath and release. Letting go, releasing. Emptying myself totally. Less of me, the more room for thee, O Lord. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mami pray me Hum. Om Mani Padme 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 Hum. May all beings everywhere with whom we are inseparably interconnected and who want and need the same as we do. May all be awakened, liberated, healed, fulfilled, secure, and free. May there be peace in this world and throughout the entire universe, and an end to war and violence, injustice, poverty, and oppression, pandemics. And may we all together complete this marvelous, graceful, spiritual journey all the way home. Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. We vow to transcend them. Dharma teachings are boundless. We vow to realize them. The enlightened one's way is unsurpassable. We vow to embody it for the boundless benefit of one and all. Imaho. Way to go. Thank you. and homage to the Buddha, the light, the divine, the God, the goddess in your seat. Don't overlook them. I love meditating every morning or outside or at night before I go to bed if I'm not too sleepy in my middle age here. So peaceful and serene, so freeing, so liberating, so organic, natural, authentic. Coming home to oneself, to just being, to human being rather than human doing, striving, accumulating, achieving, becoming. Just being with a capital B plus, awareness with a capital A plus, or Rigpa, self-recognizing, presence, innate wakefulness, Rigpa in Tibetan, Buddha mind, Dharmakaya, reality, cosmic awareness, whatever you call it, any word cannot encompass its extra sweetness and delight. This is a joyous Dharma of awakening, friends, not a dukkha Dharma. Buddha never said life is suffering. Look it up. He said the enlightened life is full of dissatisfactoriness, suffering, old age, illness, death. But there is another life, the enlightened life. And the way to the enlightened life, the path of awakening, the Eightfold Noble Path, whatever you call it, the three trainings, ethical training, meditation or mindfulness training, and wisdom love training that comprise the Eightfold Path, the 8 steps to enlightenment, the backbone of my book, Awakening the Buddha Within. Check it out. This is a joyous Dharma, an uplifting Dharma, life-affirming, universal wisdom, not partisan, not divisive. Religio means bringing together. Unfortunately, religions seem to have become a bit divisive in recent centuries or even millennia as they get ossified, as they stray from the founder's original vision and so forth. As Holden Caulfield said, the Bodhisattva catcher in the Rye, the baseball team of Rye, New York, as Holden Caulfield said, if Jesus were alive today, he would puke. It's a quote, look it up, from that classic novel by J.D. Salinger, who happened to be a Zen Buddhist from his years studying in Japan. If Buddha was alive today, and he is, I don't know if he'd puke, but he might be a little surprised. You never know. Imaho, amazing. Whoa. Anyway, we're alive, and now it's our turn. It's up to us, nobody else, to take the wheel of our own life, karma, destiny in our own hands. Karma, one of the most important principles or universal laws. Not even a Buddhist teaching, came from ancient Hinduism, and before that, it's common in most of the world religions and humanist philosophies. What goes around comes around. That's the law of karma. Cause and effect. Like reproduces like. For every action, there's a reaction in kind, as it says in Newton's law of thermodynamics. You fill in the number. First law, third law, whatever. For every action, there's a reaction in kind. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just cycles. Very interesting. Even science has arrived at that. And yet there are people, even last night, I saw Bill Maher on TV saying there's no such thing as karma. But of course, who even understands karma today? What does it mean? Although we hear that word on sitcoms. In case you don't know, Bill Maher is kind of a famous skeptic or atheist or agnostic, whatever he is. He made a movie called Religulous, poking fun at all the world religions with a sort of superficial, as I see it, take on each of them, just bringing up their most absurd aspects. Anyway, life is a little deeper than a talk show. Maybe one has noticed. I've been on the talk shows and I've been backstage. Yes, I've been on Bill Maher's Politically Incorrect also. He said later I was funny. Anyway, life is not a talk show. Even silence has its glory, its beauty, its nurturing and nourishing effect. Noble silence, not just something missing. Noble solitude, not just loneliness, it's different. Noble equanimity and spiritual detachment, not just complacence and indifference. These are subtle things to think about, not just take the caption or the cartoon to heart. There may be more to it than that. Karma means causation, cause and effect, conditioning. Even in the Bible, it's taught we reap what we've sown. This is karma, law of karma. It's not some airy-fairy Eastern concept. Every action has, every thought, deed, word, intention has consequences, has ripples. Check it out. That's the fact of life. Of course, there's different kinds of karma, positive karma, negative karma, and neutral karma. The same action could be positive or negative depending on various factors like the motivation and intention, like the action and whether it's completed or not fulfilled, and whether you regret it or rejoice in it, which has its own conditioning. If you regret it and vow never to do it again, then you're transformed in unwholesome into wholesome going forward. If you rejoice in your harmful activities or words or deeds, thoughts, then it's a more full karma. It's like first degree, second degree, or third degree manslaughter, murder, etc. Because karma is the universal principle of law. Not a law, local law in court, like whether it's legal to drive on the right side or the left side, depending on which continent you're in. But law, universal law is like that all that are born die. Everything is impermanent, transient, therefore unreliable, and so on. So there's 4 parts for any karma to be complete. So think about it. Look into it. Intention, action, completion, and rejoicing in the results or regretting the results. It takes all 4 to have a complete karmic repercussions. Also, there's bad karma that's like average bad karma, and then there's heinous sins, as they call it in Judeo-Christianity. Even in Buddhism, there's extra heinous negative actions named in the scriptures, for example, like killing your parents who you owe so much to, or killing a Buddha, and so on, killing a saint. And there's extra positive actions also. What did Buddha say? No man has such love as he gives his life for another. I think Buddha said that, or maybe it was Jesus. I don't know. I get them confused. Thich Nhat Hanh says that Buddha and Jesus are brothers. He wrote a whole book with that title. Check it out. You students of world religions, you eclectic seekers of truth. So yesterday's masterclass was on karma, the mysterious key to the universe, and how to get our hands on the steering wheel of our lives. How one intention or impulse, if it becomes an action, if action is repeated, it becomes a routine or pattern. If that's repeated even further, making deeper rut, deeper pathway for the synapses or whatever it is, then it becomes a habit. Then it becomes character, which leads to destiny, how your life becomes. So everything depends on how we think, act, respond, intend. So much depends on intention and motivation, as the Dalai Lama always says in his teachings about being an altruistic, compassionate bodhisattva or spiritual hero, altruistic compassionator, awakener, bodhisattva, Buddha to be. The Dalai Lama himself has said many times, and quoting the greatest of Indian Buddhist philosophers, Nagarjuna, from 1200 years ago, the founder of the Middle Way philosophy, Madhyamika, the Middle Way philosophy, Mahayana Buddhism. If you want to understand shunyata, so-called emptiness, you have to understand interdependent origination and karma. Anyway, just a few thoughts. This isn't the lecture class. If you come to the master classes or workshops and retreats, we go more into these things to support our practice, to understand how to get off the unhappy bus and onto the happy bus, if that's what we find ourselves dealing with. If we're on the unhappy bus, you might be able to get off and go onto the happy bus, but how? The bad news about karma is that it means conditioning, and we're heavily conditioned. But the good news is it's just conditioning. Conditioning can be reconditioned. It's not permanent. It's not engraved in stone. And even stone is impermanent, as we see on beaches. Even stone is impermanent. There's nothing but clear light, as the Mahamudra master Marpa said. Yes, my anger seems like engraved in stone, but even stone is nothing but clear light. That's how we lighten the load without many lifetimes of purifying anything away, seeing through, not just sanding it down, which is a much more laborious process. Anyway, any questions, please? We live in a world today, tumultuous, violent world. Some wise guy or girl or other recently called it the age of grievances. We had the information age and et cetera, industrial age. Now it's the age of grievances. Even now, I think we've gone into a new chapter, the age of rage. Everybody seems enraged about something. Check out the social media.
So we do have a question.
Okay.
How best to use dream yoga to improve karmic mind stream? What other techniques can be used to improve negative karma?
Good question. Two questions. One is about dream yoga, which I'm not going to go into right now. Not everybody knows what that is, but it has to do with lucid dreaming, waking up in the dream and knowing you're asleep, but knowing you're dreaming and playing with it. So you do extremely positive actions to recondition your habitual, habits and karma. That's how you purify it. I wouldn't use the word get rid of. Anyway, more to the other point, which I already forgot what it was, but it's related. What is it? How can we make better karma or something?
What other techniques can be used to improve negative karma?
Yes. Rebalancing the scales of karma or of judgment, as they call it in the Judeo-Christian tradition. For example, to expiate the sinfulness or the strong negativity of murder or of killing or thoughtlessly killing bugs, animals, fish, I don't know what, we can save life. I know this is very black and white and sounds like childish, but bear with me. Save life. So Tibetans living in the old world, would Chacho Rinpoche, who was one of the rare vegetarian lamas, the great old Chacho Rinpoche with the white beard, who lived to be 102, perhaps because of these practices of vegetarianism and saving life. He went to the market in Darjeeling. He lived near Darjeeling in Goom, where it's always gloomy. Gloomy, as we used to say, near Kala Rinpoche's monastery, where I used to see him all the time in the 70s. He used to go to the market and buy fish and set them free back into the lakes and rivers, and birds and frogs and things and rabbits that were sold in the market that were going to be slaughtered and eaten. And he set them free in their own habitats where they could survive. Even in San Francisco, in more recent decades, old world lamas who visited San Francisco bought lobsters, live lobsters at the Fisherman's Wharf, and put them back into the bay, the practice of saving life. Now, of course, as modern people, maybe you think a little differently or sophisticated about saving life, like donating medicine or discovering cures for diseases or other things, or being retiring and volunteering to be a crossing guard at the kindergarten. I'm just making up things here that one could do to be, quote, saving life, protecting life, valuing life, cherishing life. I'm not even going to go into the extremely complicated and controversial areas of capital punishment, abortion, euthanasia, death with dignity, putting pets down, and other things that one could very well think about if you're in the ethical dimension of trying to live a wise and loving, compassionate spiritual life, whether it's Buddhist or otherwise, or just humanistic. So saving life is a good one in different ways. Practice to balance the scales. But then we're just talking about life and killing or saving life. But how about, for the other things that may or may not be, less intense, like stealing or lying, or even not lying, just deceiving or telling a half-truth, or not to mention false facts or spin and PR and other things. So truth-telling is a great practice, obviously, but it's easier said than done. Who knows what the truth is? Who isn't biased towards self-interest, prejudice, or misunderstandings of various kinds? And moreover, we deceive ourselves so often. If we prey to self-deception, how are we going to really be truth tellers and act honestly and impeccably, or even be honest with ourselves? So practicing these moral virtues, like it says wherever it says the Ten Commandments or the Sermon on the Mount in Buddhism, which I know better, the 5 lay precepts: not killing, stealing, lying, sexual misconduct, or intoxicants, which cause heedlessness. The 5 lay precepts, they're training precepts, trying not to, like Thich Nhat Hanh says, vowing to endeavor to cherish life and not to take life, vowing to endeavor to be honest and not to deceive, vowing to endeavor to all the rest. I guess I'm not very clear on the other ones, and wander into those by mistake. So reconditioning the negativity, the bad habits, and it's up to us to decide what's a bad habit or not. Not everybody agrees. Drinking alcohol or taking addictive drugs, or for that matter, killing, is a bad habit. For example, there are many people in the world that kill all the time, but they kill animals, fish, and insects without a thought. For Buddhists and others who believe that all beings are God's creatures, in Buddhism we call it all beings endowed with the luminous Buddha nature, the Buddha potential, the bodhicitta, the inner light, then we don't draw the line about killing humans, any kind of killing. So the opposite, we practice cherishing life. So balancing with the, let's say, opposite or antidote, to recondition in a different direction and ultimately decondition. If we're stuck in a rut, it's hard to get out of the rut, but if we make some new habits, new ruts, they're not that deep, so we're not that stuck in them. They're shallower. And then decondition totally, so we're totally free in any moment, not prey to the victims of the past conditions and circumstances. That's why practice of cultivating nowness awareness, resting in the luminous openness or voidness is so therapeutic, so healing, so freeing. There's no karma in the ultimate, in the absolute. There's no 2 or 3. There's no bumper cars. There's no cause and effect. There's no noose. There's just bead, 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 moment, moment, moment. There's no string of conceptuality, of memory, of identity, of selfhood. Making it into a rosary, a mala, a prayer beads, or a noose, or a knot. And you realize then that a snake is the same snake, whether it's knotted up or straightened out, same snake. So you can accept more how things are and be more free in the moment, not always trying to change or improve. In fact, the whole teaching of the Fourth Noble Truth taught by Buddha is that suffering comes from wanting things to be other than they are. It's not just that suffering comes from desire or craving. It comes from craving things to be different than they are. It comes from ignorance about not knowing how things are. And from there, one can decide how to work with them. So it's not what happens to us, but what we make of it that makes all the difference. How many times do I say that? That's the secret of mastery. Of course, you can practice purification, like fasting. You can practice generosity to rebalance stinginess or stealing. But let me just say, in the Vajrayana, in our special, powerful rocket ship vehicle called Vajrayana Tantra, you can practice Vajrasattva's purification mantra, the 100-syllable purification mantra, and flush it all out and purify all the karmas of all your lifetimes. And not just by chanting a mantra like a parrot, but by regretting and confessing and admitting, which is the opposite of denial, and vowing never to do it again, and things like that. The 4 powers of Vajrasattva, which it means 4 things that you do to overawe or overcome that habitual negative conditioning. So I recommend that highly, especially the last parts about reforming, regretting, and vowing not to do it again. That's where the healing and the transformation takes place, and where your spiritual rebirth takes place. So I think we've gotten to the witching hour now. Have a beautiful Sunday. Hope I'll see you at our day-long virtual retreat, or in Litchfield, Connecticut, at our residential 6-day retreat at the end of October at the Wisdom House. Thank you. Love to one and all. Be well.